Hello, this is Cotton Stoops, and today's Lumen Legacy HTUC video is going to be talking about the counters and checks and teammates and the roles and sets for Yutyphoon. Overall, helping you know how to use and counter it, especially from using it into the battles and team building around Yutyphoon. So the role that Yutyphoon is going to be playing is actually quite dependent on its base stats and its abilities. So first off, the thing you want to know most about it is that it's going to be having some very bad melee defense. This is a theme between most of the fossils at this point. They're going to be having a lot of bad matchups against a lot of melee attackers. However, it is somewhat remedied by your mediocre HP stat, nothing too crazy. However, your range defense stat of 95 will be pretty good, especially if you pair this up with your ability of petrifying, allowing you to take hits from the likes of Soul Burst, Eruptodon, and Pyrelin much more easier than a lot would think. Then, of course, your energy is 87, and what actually looks pretty nice is its melee attack of 115 and your speed stat of 104. The speed stat narrowly outspeeds the likes of Vesperatu, Lusa, and Namare, while your melee attack stat of 115 definitely higher than some melee attackers, but not as high as the likes of Colossotrops, Joltooth, and a lot of more of the melee wall breakers. However, this is still some decent melee attack if only you had some coverage to go along with it. Then this will pretty much give you an idea of how well it does defensively. You have 4 weaknesses to Light, Ice, Metal, and Ancient, admittedly all very common typings, but it is somewhat remedied with your 6 resistances to Fire, Water, Plant, Bug, Spirit, Brawler, and an immunity to Earth. You have quite a lot of resistances here, all of those being fairly common in this metagame, so you can potentially use Yutyphoon for a different amount of sets if you want to try and mix what you really want to do. So with that out of the way, its obvious role, it's going to be a pretty specific niche type Lumion. If you looked at its resistances, then you're going to know that this is going to be one of the best offensive checks and counters to Soul Burst, Eruptodon, and other fire types, including the likes of Pyrelin. This does very well against those type of Lumions. It also has the defensive capabilities along with its other form to check the likes of Todd-Tab, so it can also do that as well. However, the main thing that you really want to do with Yutyphoon is just play in a speedy defensive role. There's really not much that you can really do. And this is mainly because of its abilities. Its abilities, other than Tumultuous, doesn't actually increase its damage. And of course, as you guys can tell or have seen from most of these videos coming out about Yutyphoon, its offensive coverage is really bad. Not to mention it only has Primal Slash as its best ancient stab and Cyclone Slam as its best air stab. These types get walled by a lot of stuff very quickly, and there's a lot of type combinations in this game that just wall this coverage outright. So while its melee attacks may seem somewhat high, it's not going to be doing great in practice. So for this reason, I would run Petrifying. However, Tumultuous, especially later on to the game, may be better. Other than that, I would run the Brawny or Clever Personality. In my opinion, Brawny is the better personality, not because it's going to be getting new moves in the future or anything like that, but you're going overboard, in my opinion, from the Clever aspect. You already stopped Soul Burst, Eruptodon, and Pyrelin, and most of the other stuff you resist quite well with Petrifying. Petrifying just makes things a lot more easier, not to mention you have Perch, so you have that ability as well. And in my opinion, you're increasing your range defenses for no reason because it doesn't even benefit you in matchups where you get hit super effectively. Your Brawny personality is going to be my personality to begin with, because it does need the damage increase. It really doesn't have the ability to hit hard at all. Then a moveset. Primal Slash is mainly here so you can have your best stab on you at all times. This helps against some spirits and can help you get the jump on stuff like Obsy or your snack if they too try and swap in onto you. Perch is going to be required as well. Gust or Ruffled Feathers is also another option. Ruffled Feathers gets rid of hazards and it is +2 priority, so it does block provoke, and that's not block provoke, but it does overshadow provoke a little bit until the next turn. So if you are predicting the opponent into they're doing a ranged hit on you, let's say like Zulong, then Ruffled Feathers would be nice. Gust is also going to be on here as an option because it's much more consistent. Cyclone Slam and Near Enchantment are going to be your last options. Cyclone Slam is specifically for the Soul Burst Raptidon matchup. In my opinion, I would just run this because you're already as niche as is, and Near Enchantment is something that you want to run if you're not that worried about Soul Burst Raptidon. Your item of choice is going to be the Archaic Pearl. Now, you already hit Ancient type super effectively because you are an Ancient type yourself, but this is specifically for the matchup of Zulong. Zulong mostly uses Ancient Essence and they always click Ancient, or not Ancient Roar, but they always click Elemental Burst instead of Thunderstrike. So giving you the opportunity to one-shot Zulong specifically with Brawny and 192 melee attack will let you do that. Of course, Yutyphoon is very niche. It is very hard to do what it can try and do, so try your best at your own expense. Other than this, your 200 HP on your TPs will let you get up to 187, giving you an odd energy HP account and giving you some nice HP. While your energy at 28 gets you up to 250. I could consider putting the energy higher in case you want to run a heavy shield, but just in reference, running a heavy shield and makes you have the ability to only use 3 rejuvenates. That's how much energy you're using. Then your 24 range fence is specifically for the Zulong matchup, and then the 56 speed is mainly to outspeed 200 Brawny Halvantics. In my opinion, there's not much other there in your speed tier to really warrant an outspeed because they either run boots or you just cannot beat them. So with that out of the way, let's get to the counters and checks and teammates. So the counters and checks for Yutyphoon is quite simple. Honestly, running the metal or electric types in this game is the best way to go, as both of these types wall its coverage with the exception of electrics, but most electrics such as Iguana don't really care what Primal Slash is doing. Valkyrie, Stratosaur, Hunter, they're all great metal types in this game. You can run Terrifying Seer Knights. I'm pretty sure they do not care about the Cyclone Slam, so go right on ahead. And as for Iguana, it just walls it out completely, making the ability to tase it if it does need to, or pivot off of it with Flash and Flee or Zip Zap. Really choose your poison here. Then melee walls such as Gargolem Defense, Sidrigon, Barblast Tondrelin, and bulkier offensive Lumions such as Lashent that has coverage in Photosynthesis or Rejuvenate, if I do recall, is another great option. Other traditional melee tanks such as Sukame, if you really want to run that, and more also works, but these are the best metagame examples that I'm willing to share. Other than this, we do have teammates for Yutyphoon, and because Yutyphoon actually stops Soul Burst Raptidon very well, and fire types in general, you're going to have a lot of time using plant types to a great extent. Using the plant types to bait in Soul Burst Raptidon or Krakaloa even is very good for Yutyphoon, simply because Yutyphoon baits in these plants, bait in those guys, and then Yutyphoon can just come in. Admittedly, it doesn't do anything to Soul Burst or Krakaloa, but it might in the future when it gets better stab. It's just mainly going to be baiting Soul Burst Raptidon in. You can even run stuff like Soul Burst Krakaloa that can just bait in Soul Burst Eruptidon. Other than this, it actually does benefit quite a lot from fire types, specifically just because of the metal type and electric type matchup. Eruptidon being immune to electric and resisting metal. Same goes for Ikijizune if you are running its SA, and same goes for Krakaloa. These guys all do pretty well against most of these types. Krakaloa obviously can't really do well against Valkyrie or Soul Burst Stratosaur. Eruptidon does really well in threatening out Valkyrie and Iguana. Ikizune offensively checks Stratosaur and pretty much all the types I've said recently besides Iguana, so that's pretty solid, and that's pretty much what else I would run. Another option I would consider running is basically light types or bulky waters, because these guys do genuinely pretty well against most of the melee walls. Using Cleone, Jalusa, Luminami, Chironix, all of these guys do really well against most of the melee walls I've said. Obviously Jalusa cannot, Cleone and Luminami cannot deal with Lashent, so running ice types like Novadius and even Glaciadia itself can do pretty well at that role. Anyways, this is the conclusion. I really think that this Lumion is horrible. When I was calcing and doing all my damage calcs trying to make the set, I found a really hard time for this Lumion to actually do any real damage. In reference, a 200 Brawny, this Lumion, Yutyphoon, a 200 Brawny Yutyphoon, can only 3-hit KO a non-invested Lashent. That's how much it's doing to a regular offensive Lumion. And that's honestly quite sad because this Lumion is really bad offensively. It has one of the worst offensive matchups in the game in terms of its coverage, and it just cannot hit very well with not enough strong base coverage. So I feel like Jamie should give this like maybe stronger versions of Primal Slash and maybe a stronger version of Nosedive so it can actually do a lot of damage. It has setup with Sharpen, so it does have that as well, so you can be a ranged version of Tyrex, and it certainly has the metagame niches to stay somewhat relevant. However, other than those niches, it's pretty much what it only has, and for that reason it's not going to be as good. So like and subscribe if you want to see more from my content, and then of course remember, this is Cotton Stoop signing off to remember you that Zulong is still a dumpster fire.